Today's episode is sponsored by TCG Player. TCG Player is your trusted source for trading card games in the USA.
TCG Player sets the standard for all prices in the trading card game community, allowing you to look up what any card is selling for so you can know exactly what your collection is worth.
Marketplace data is used in stores and communities all around the world, so you never have to wonder if you're getting the right price when buying, selling, or trading cards. Don't forget to check out their mobile app to scan, shop, or sell.
Be sure to check out TCG Player to shop the latest cards in Magic: The Gathering. You can check out the hottest singles from Murders at Karlov Manor.
But TCG Player has so much more than Magic: The Gathering. You can pick up any other TCG you know and love, with card games like One Piece, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and Lorcana 2. With a variety available on TCG Player, it's easily become our one-stop shop. If you'd like to check out their site and support our show, you can do so by using the link in our description to shop. Thank you again to TCG Player for sponsoring this episode. Welcome to the Scribe Babies podcast. I'm Louis Stardust.
I'm Tori of the Vest.
And today we are going to be talking about Magiccon. So Magiccon is quickly approaching in Chicago, and for many of you, this might be your first time ever attending a Magiccon, or maybe your first con ever. For those of you who aren't first timers, maybe we'll have some cool new information for you, and feel free to leave some tips in our comment section for those beginners. At the end of the podcast, we will go over our general audience Q&A that we had a lot of requests for, just general information about Magiccon, so we'll have that at the end. But first, today's featured patron is Ephemeral Eel. Woo!
Woo!
We're starting to do this little thing where we feature patrons because we wanted a way to put some support into these episodes and say thank you, especially to them because they gave us this idea for this episode. So thank you again to Ephemeral Eel for being a patron. And if you'd like to get a special Patreon shout out, then make sure you sub to us over on patreon.com/scribebabies.
So you may be asking yourself, what is Magiccon? Magiccon is a celebration of all things Magic: The Gathering. It's an official convention that is put on by Wizards of the Coast, so not a third-party convention like an SCG-Con or an NRG series or any of the conventions you've seen before. This is done by WotC themselves. It's got special panels, guests, really cool artist alley, and it also has a lot of events. So this is the premier place to hear about the newest sets coming out, any news in the industry. So I get to play with people from all over the world. There are so many people that attend these Magiccons, and you get to see all your friends from online. You get to see artists from, all the different countries too, which is really cool. Pretty sure at Vegas back in September 2023, we had, artists all the way from Europe that came to that one. Vegas is a popular one where they all go to that one.
We actually get, which we'll talk about later, Magali, who's a very popular artist. This is her first time attending, and I believe she's in France, and that's a huge deal too. So we're getting a lot of premier artists and very well-known Magic artists to come for this. So
yeah, it's definitely the place to be.
So you might be thinking, that sounds super fun, Lua and Tori. Where is Magiccon? Because I want to go. Well, we have 3 events this year. The first one is Chicago. That will be February 23rd through 25th. The next one is in Amsterdam, which I love that they're doing stuff that's international and not just in the U.S. because I feel like that happens so often where the U.S. gets most of the events in comparison to other places. So that's going to be in June 28th to 30th. And then Magiccon Vegas is October 25th through 27th. That'll be the 3rd time they're doing it in Vegas. They tend to do different cities every year, but they seem like Vegas is where they always go to.
Yeah, I feel like Vegas is some place that they'll continue to go to just because it's not really a halfway point, but it's good for all the people who are on the West Coast, since a lot of Magic events are typically on the East Coast or in the Midwest, or just gaming conventions. I feel like in general, a lot of them are more closer over here. So Vegas will probably stay for everybody on the West Coast. It's also easier to travel to if you are coming from somewhere in Asia or Japan, and you want to fly over for that one. It also has an abundance of hotels, and it looks like they want to try to stick to places that have a lot of hotels and a lot of amenities. That way you're not stuck in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I like the idea of it being also the big year end event is going to be at this Vegas location, which just feels like where you see a lot of people go for the Super Bowl's this year, things like that, right? So I feel like that's the kind of ending destination. Not to mention their entire team is West Coast based, so having that central event's probably really nice for them. But I hope we at least get one East Coast event every year. I know we're a little biased. There was Philly last year, and that was great. It was nice and close.
Oh my god, it was awesome. It was a 10-minute subway ride to get to Magiccon.
It was great.
I know.
I'm really bummed it's not here this year, but I'm excited to do the Chicago thing. So yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about why Magiccon is kind of the place to be. So you can go there to play Magic. Very simple. You can bring your friends or you can make some new ones while you're there. One thing I notice in the like command zone and free play areas is there's always a staff member walking around with a looking for casual or looking for competitive sign. And so if you're looking to join pods, or if you have 3 friends and you need a 4th, you can ask any of those staff members and they can help you find someone for your pod, which I think is a really cool feature.
So there are a lot of unique events at Magiccon. We have Gavin Verhey's Unknown event, which is the most popular. It's been selling out at all the events. They also have brought back kind of like a GP style main event. So I know at Chicago they will be having, I believe it is a standard 100K, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same as Vegas from September, where if you top 8, I think you get an invite back to the PT. So
that's pretty cool.
Pretty cool. What else do we have going on?
Just to touch on the Unknown event, because that, like, you might have heard it, but you might not have seen like anything for it. That's the event that Gavin puts on. I don't even know how many players are there. We walked past it last year, and people were screaming
it's
so loud.
It's already sold out, I'm pretty sure.
It's huge, yeah.
For Chicago, yeah.
It's a bunch of playtest cards, so those are like really unique, like fun cards where they're obviously not Magic legal, or they were cards that were gonna be printed, or like things like that, or they're just funky ones. So I've seen a lot of people use them as like their commanders and do like Rule 0 decks for that. So that's like your chance to get like a really unique piece of Magic history, which is what I think of when I think that event. That's what I think of.
Yeah, for sure.
There's also what I would say Game Night Live is probably like the big premiere event. So if you're a fan of game nights, or if you just like Commander, I think it's worth even staying for a couple rounds and watching the show. Josh and Jimmy always bring very great guests. This year we're going to have Prof, who's never been to a Magiccon, so he's going to be playing alongside Rachel Weeks and a lot of other players. And it's like the sporting event. Like, it is the Commander sporting event. There is like rooting for teams. The crowd goes wild. Like, it's a very good
like WWE SmackDown.
It does.
For Commander.
They do like wrestling, like walk up intros. They have like foam fingers. They're doing their thing. And like, I don't know. I think it's really nice that there is coverage and like events that happen for all aspects of Magic. But I think this is just like a silly little quirky thing. And I think it's something that's really impressively done. I know they upload the gameplay episodes after on their YouTube, so you can check out those if you want to get kind of an example of that. But I think even just, again, stopping by for a couple rounds to see it, if you don't want to stay for the whole show, is worth doing because it's such a cool concept. I really like that.
Yeah, it's also unique to the convention, so might as well go sit and enjoy it.
There was a panel I thought that was really cool that I wanted to mention because this will kind of go on at every Magiccon, not this one specifically, obviously. But on Friday, there is a preview panel, which is going to talk about everything coming in 2024 pretty early on. So we'll get some stuff for Thunder Junction, Modern Horizons 3, Assassin's Creed, and then they said there might be a little bit of Bloomborough. So it's kind of like the premiere spot to see some early access stuff, some cards, and some information. We did an episode recently where we were talking about everything that's coming in 2024. That panel was done at Gen Con last year. And so I think it's important for big shows like this. That's where you're going to get all the first like big pieces of information for those sets coming out. So if you want to check those out, I would highly recommend seeing that kind of panel. What else do you like to do at Magiccon?
The best thing for me at Magiccon, I really enjoyed the art panels, the art and stories, like the Art of Magic story with Magic. Sam from Ristic Studies puts on a really cool panel, has interviews and talks to some of the artists about, you know, their inspiration and their mediums and what they work with. It's really cool. It's a really cool side of Magic that you get to like experience with the artists in person, since we don't really get to like see them often, or like
we don't get to hear from them.
We don't get to hear from them as much, so it definitely is a really cool experience. That's been my favorite thing to go watch at the Magic Cons last year, so looking forward to them again this year. The shopping is really fun.
Yeah.
The shopping's great. There's merchandise that is for Magiccon only, and sometimes they'll do something special for each city. Like I know in Vegas they had like the bowling shirt and the hockey jersey. They were really cool. Minneapolis had like a special hoodie.
They're doing special pins too, like
special pins.
There's also like if you spend X amount or something, you get like a unique card. So they do. I think there's like a hot dog one for Chicago, or like a deep dish pizza. Like there's some funny stuff. So they really try to cater towards each city that they go to, which I think is really fun.
Yeah, and the merch is really cool.
Yeah,
like I've gotten so many compliments on all the stuff that I bought there and wear it out. People are like, "Where did you get that?" And I feel bad because I'm like, it's from Magiccon, so like unless you go, you probably can't pick it up. I don't know if they're all like online at all.
Well, I like that. I like to wear more of like streetwear kind of clothing out for like games I like, brands I like, stuff like that. So they provide like a lot of really unique styles for that. And outside of like just the official merchandise too, there's like a ton of vendors. There's card vendors. There's other like Rock Love Jewelry, for example, had a collaboration with Magic. They're always there. So there's like a lot of clothing brands, but there's also, you know, buying Magic cards or other products that you can use, like deck boxes and like the newest play mats and things like that. You could check those things out at Magiccon, which is really cool.
I also got an ice mold.
You did.
I did. There was like
great.
an Ultra Pro store, and they had like
It's like the Magic Pro
I don't know.
shop.
They had like a Magic Pro shop or something like that, and I got like an ice mold.
They
like
do a lot
circular
of
ice cubes with like all the mana symbols in them,
which I feel like is great for like cocktails or mocktails or something really fun.
It's just
for
something
hosting.
stupid and kitschy. I like that. I like Magic gear that's not just like deck box, sleeve.
That stand is great because they always have really unique stuff. I bought like my Magic sweatpants. It's like the mana symbols. I wear those everywhere. And then they also have like the home decor aspect, and they have more like personalized stuff that isn't just like a t-shirt, which I really like. Though their t-shirts are really good. I bought a lot of them, so
same.
I enjoy that. Something I also thought was really cool is the after parties. So we had a lot of fun, a lot more fun than I thought we would at the last event. It was DJ'd by Elijah Wood, and the other guy, I do not know his name right now off the top of my head. I'm so sorry.
I can't remember it either. Honestly.
He DJ'd, and then there was another DJ after that was more of like the party aesthetic, but it was what they call it, a slumber party,
it was
right?
The Wilds of Eldraine Eternal Slumber Party.
Yeah.
This is the one with the story, and we all wore pajamas. Everyone had to wear pajamas. It was really fun. We all danced. We all had a great time. We were all in our pajamas, so we all looked silly. People were in like kigurumis.
It was great. It was like nice because it was like something that didn't have to just be Magic for the weekend. The one that they did in Minneapolis I thought was great too. That was the one where they have like a karaoke bar, and then they had a space like you could play Magic if you wanted to. There's definitely tables to do that. Like you could absolutely do that. But there's space for drinks and food and like other things and dancing if that's what you want to do. This one they're doing a House of Clue party at the House of Blues, which I think is really funny. And I know there's like a Clue dinner thing.
Yeah, I think it's like a murder mystery type thing.
Which I think is really cool. I think
it is cool.
I think it's cool that they're making them thematic to whichever set that's going to be going on. I think we were talking about potentially Amsterdam would probably be like Modern Horizons 3 based on like the timelines of stuff.
Yes,
I would assume.
It will be MH3.
And then I'm not sure what Vegas will be. It'll be like Bloomborough or Duskmorn or something like that. So it would be nice to see like what themes they pick for each of those events as well. Yeah, there's other like panels and programming and previews for new sets. Like there's so much stuff that happens in this weekend. It's kind of impossible to do it all.
Also at all the events, there is the Pro Tour, which would be happening. So you could watch the coverage for that on Twitch. Magic streams it all day long. Pretty awesome. And then for the top 8 of the finals, they do stream it on the main stage. So you can watch the top 8. Yeah, it's really fun. Really exciting.
I caught you there a lot. At one of the cons, you were just like sitting down watching all the event stuff. So.
It was very cool because they like in Philly they had it where it was its own room, which was neat. So you get to go up there and it was very quiet. You walked in, you were able to like look. You can't really like see everything. But it looks like the freaking ESPN in there.
It's cool.
Insane.
It's
the
really
casters
done well.
are fantastic. Like the entire team does a great job. It's just really cool to see the production level that goes into it. And it's just cool to see all your pros, you know? It's like some of the best names in Magic battling it out. My one hope for the next couple Magiccons is they didn't really have like a viewer section. To watch live coverage. It was kind of like you can catch it on Twitch. I'm like, well, I don't want to watch it on my phone. I want to watch it here.
They had done some stuff on the stage, I think, on the last day of the event, but there wasn't like really. Yeah, they do
the like live top 8 thing.
Like I would be like happy with a little area like that throughout the weekend where you could see the stuff, or at least like stats or information
and
to like check
things. And you are allowed to go stand in the area and watch some things if you like to. So that was pretty cool. The last one we went to was Worlds. That was hosted at Magiccon Vegas. I believe Worlds will be at Vegas again this year. But it was cool to see, you know, the championship and the trophy at the end. Just a really cool moment for the winners.
That's really awesome. I like that they do a little bit of everything. Vegas was cool too because it was like the top floor was like obviously completely different than the bottom. The bottom was like a lot of Commander and then like some event space stuff. And then I believe the top floor was where all that stuff was going on. And then the cosplayers and things like that.
Yeah.
So, which we'll get into the cosplayers because they're super, super cool. The next thing is who will be at Magiccon. So I said cosplay. We're going to go right into that. So This time around, there are featured cosplayers who will be cosplaying from Murders of Karlov Manor. At previous Magiccons, there have been mostly just like planeswalkers, which were really cool as well. And at each of those, there was different cosplay sets, which I thought was one of the coolest things because you can go in there and take pictures. I sat on Liliana's or like Professor Onyx's seat, and I got to take some really cool pictures, and I like that. I think you have one in there too.
I do. I have a picture with that. A picture with Chandra.
Oh yeah, and Teferi. Yeah. So I thought that was a really cool concept, especially for kids. I saw like a kid go up to the Teferi. His name is Teferi, goes by Teferi All-Mine, and was just like, "Oh, you're my favorite planeswalker. I've always wanted to meet you." And like he was acting like it was really him, and it was the cutest thing I've ever witnessed in my whole life.
Stop.
It was great. So I really think that's a cool concept, and you can even play in those areas. I'm not sure what they're going to be like this time around because it's completely different Magiccon, but they are really cool. At least go check out those sets if they're there, and the cosplayers are so amazing. So definitely check that out.
So we do have an artist alley. It is massive at Magiccon. So I believe for Chicago, we will have Aaron Miller, Justine Jones, RK Post, Wizard of Barge, and Majali, like you said. But yeah, they sell their prints there. They have artist proofs merchandise. You can get stuff signed, which is awesome. I had a great time at the artist alley. I kind of walked around with my hands behind my back because I didn't want to bump into anything, but I just like kept peering over at stuff and just looking.
Yeah, I would recommend if you want to go to see your favorite artist that's like the first thing you do when you get into the event. Some of their lines get really long. I would also just put out there that they have a little bit of everything. So things like artist proofs, different merchandise items like clothing or prints, playmats, so much different stuff. So you can also bring your cards to get signed if that's something you want to do. A lot of them will do like really cool colored signatures. There's an artist, I can't remember his name, but he does airbrushing on the cards and it's really cool looking. So there's a lot of different variety as far as these artists go. There's so many more that we just like didn't get a chance to name because there's like 30 plus artists on there. But definitely check that out. I think it's one of the coolest parts of the whole show. Content creators. So content creators will be there. Unfortunately, Tori will not be making it to Chicago.
I will not be making it to Magiccon Chicago. I am no longer attending. I was supposed to be going, but our doggy had surgery, so I will be staying home with him.
But you can catch me at 12 p.m. at the Creator area. So that's the Creator Central. Creator Central is the premier place to meet content creators. If you're looking to get your stuff signed, play some games, or just meet them in general, that's going to have a whole schedule on the website for when you can meet everybody. I have a 12 p.m. signing where I'll be there with Nexus MTG, Kuro, Yawgoth, the Mind Sculptors as well. So there will be a rotation of content creators throughout the weekend, and you can come see us. I know there's a few of us also participating in the passport stamps, which are really cute. There's more information for that directly on the website. But yeah, we have cool stamps. You can put them in a passport book and then get a cool prize in the end.
Yeah, and the prizes last time were like insane. I think you got like a whole ass box of cards.
Yeah, I have no idea what they are this time, but they were pretty good last time. So this is something we talk about all the time, Tori.
We do.
And we talk about just what's in our bags. So I would love to know from you, what is an essential item to bring with you to Magiccon?
All right, I'm going to be completely transparent here. When I go to Magiccon or an event in general, I bring my backpack. And in my backpack, aside from just like, you know, the deck box, the deck, and the sleeves and everything else, I have my phone charger and a power bank, which I feel like a lot of people are like, charger and a phone bank, you know, like, yeah, that's we know, but you have to be reminded to bring, you know, your charger, your phone battery thing, backup.
That's also important though, because think about how many of us are using life totals on our phone and how quickly that gets drained.
Yeah, it gets drained out. Yeah. I also bring usually a granola bar. And a big bottle, reusable bottle for water. The events do let you bring in your own water bottle, I've noticed. So far, all of them have. And they do have like water fill-up stations usually at most of these places. So that way you can stay hydrated. That is the most important part of the entire day, is to stay hydrated. So water, a little snacky snack in case you start getting hungry and you don't have anything in your bag. But my other big thing that I bring with me everywhere I go is a little tiny travel bag. And inside of it is a pair of socks, an extra pair of socks, just in case my feet get sweaty or I step in a puddle. It's the worst thing in the world when you step in a puddle and your socks are wet. So I have socks in my bag, and I'm an IBS girly. I have a pair of underwear. You never know. You never know.
That is the
It's in my
realest thing.
bag. I have underwear and socks in a little baggie and a little like zipper thing. And inside there, I also just have a little essential kit of like O's. I have like Tums. I've got Advil. I've got Imodium. Because again, IBS girly. Gotta shit myself. Not at the Magiccon. So I just keep all of that with me.
No, I also keep some kind of stuff because Ian's got an upset tummy, and also for you, I usually keep some kind of like Tums or other stuff on me. Advil, I always get a headache. But I also like to keep just any kind of like other things I might need in an emergency, like the snack stuff you were mentioning. I think that's really good and important to keep. You mentioned sleeves earlier because we were talking about like dice bags and sleeves and your deck boxes, of course, but bringing extra sleeves for if you want to play events, as well as like extra lands. There are land stations available, but having that just ready to go so you can go play an event is really great and handy too. The other thing for food is they do have food at every convention center, right? So you can absolutely go get your chicken fingers and live your life, but having those granola bars throughout the day or small snacks make it really, really helpful. I always try to bring some cash. You never know how the service is going to be in those places. And I think it's just a great thing to have in case you're trying to get a quick transaction or run it somewhere quick. Yeah.
That is smart.
Definitely bring yourself like a hoodie or some kind of jacket. It gets so cold in them, like those centers, because I feel like they're trying to keep
blast the AC. Yep. Well, they have to, otherwise it's gonna get stinky.
Of course.
Oh, that's another thing.
Speaking of deodorant,
perfume.
Yep.
Sometimes I'll put the little tiny speed stick in my bag.
A little mints, just to make sure that you.
I always have mints on me. Always have mints. I always have gum.
I never want to be smelly when I'm playing against somebody else, and so I try to have those things on me.
And I have Band-Aids. I have like a whole little medical kit.
Yes.
So if you ever trip and fall or poop yourself at a Magiccon, you can come find me.
Tori,
and I'll be able to help you.
Something I wanted to get into before we start talking about kind of the Q&A portion of this is I forgot to say this is not an official event, but it is a thing I am putting on that we did at Magiccon Las Vegas, and that is the Learn to Play CDH event. So if you are looking to learn how to play CDH, or if you already play CDH and you want to play with a bunch of CDH content creators, we're going to have like the Mind Sculptors, Play to Win, Playing with Power, Howling Salt Mind, Mental Misplay. So many different amazing content creators are going to be there to teach you how to play or just to jam games. That will be on one of the days throughout the weekend when we have the date. I will post it up for you all to see. And we usually just hang out for a few hours, meet people, play games, stuff like that. And we give out small prizes. We give like packs to new players or winners for pods. And I think it's just a great way to show the community that CDH can be fun. I also usually bring 8 to 10 decks with little mini primers. So if you aren't familiar with CDH and you want to try a deck for the first time, or if you want to try something new, you could come do that. Bring a friend. We usually have 2 content creators at every booth for an additional 2 players to come play. So I want to throw that out there.
Very cool. You should do that if you're at Chicago.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to our questions and answers that everybody has sent over to us. So this was something I thought about for myself. Somebody said that events like this seem overwhelming and give me anxiety. How do you manage that? It's a big space.
It is a big space.
To say it's a big space is an understatement. We did say this was put on by Wizards of the Coast, but it's also put on by ReedPop, and ReedPop does some of the biggest conventions in the U.S. for Comic-Cons and things like that. They do New York Comic Con, for example, and it's put on very well. I haven't had a problem with like actually getting into the building or feeling unsafe. There's like metal detectors. There's all this like great stuff, and I also don't feel like it's a space where we've been ever so tight walking down. Like when we've been to Comic-Con before, like regular Comic-Con.
That was hell.
It's nothing like that though.
Yeah.
Like there's so much space to walk around.
So I will say, as somebody who has very bad anxiety, especially I have really bad crowd anxiety, there are some good things that you can know in advance that would help you. So if you're someone who is overwhelmed by large groups of people waiting in line, you just don't like waiting in line, it gives you, gotta be somewhere. You can go on the Thursday usually to pick up your badge earlier, so that way you have it when you go into Magiccon Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You already have your badge and you're good to go. Also, getting in line for things you want to get to early. If you have artists that you want to have sign your cards, pull the cards in advance, set them aside, and that way you know where you're going, you know what to look for. You don't have to awkwardly pull the cards out. You can just get in and you can go. Another overwhelming tip for anxiety, I always try to find a buddy. Find a buddy. That way, if you're feeling stressed out, you want to just go outside and go for a walk, get some air, you're getting a little overwhelmed, find your buddy and go with you.
Yeah, I think that was also another thing. People were talking about tips for time management. You can't do it all in one day. There is a lot of stuff that goes on in Magiccon. So what I like to do is I'd like to pick 2 major events every day. So whether that is I want to go see Sam's art panel and then I want to check out Game Nights Live, or I want to play in Gavin's event and then I want to go, play Commander for 6 hours. I try to pick 2 things for myself, and anything else I get to do is a bonus. If I want to make sure that, I'm getting my artist stuff done in the morning, but at night I want to go check check out the party, stuff like that. Like, just set those two things for yourself. The good thing is the schedule is available online in advance, so you can kind of plan that out. Don't go crazy by picking things by the hour, but definitely pick a couple things that sound interesting to you. Other tips for time management, I guess just...
For time management, I guess if you know you're going to be playing in an event, like either you're playing a modern event or you're playing in the main event and you want to play the 100K, just make sure that you have your deck list maybe written out in case something crashes, so that way you already have your deck list on your phone, in paper somewhere. Bring extra sleeves with you, that way if one of them splits, you can easily just replace it really quick.
I think you also said something about like bringing a friend and doing stuff. We had another question that was asking like, how do you manage juggling everyone's interests if you're going in a group? So you can go with your friend to certain events. Something I would suggest is, because Magiccon is so big, you have the opportunity to do whatever you want. So if someone is going to an event that doesn't really suit your needs or what you want to do, then maybe around that time you can go in the command zone and play something with, you know, new people, or you can go watch a show or a panel or go to a workshop. There is so much going on where I don't think you'll feel lonely. And I think especially like Magic players can be so inviting, but even if it feels awkward to introduce yourself to them, like I mentioned earlier, which I think this is also another question about introducing yourself, having those people walking around that are staff members to like help players get new pods is a very helpful thing too.
I guess another thing to add to the group thing too is, if you do know that you have different interests and you want to try different things, the best thing you could do is also like set up a meet time. So what we do usually is like, we'll be like, oh, we're going to Magiccon, we're going to be signing at 12 o'clock. And then from 12 to 5, we go do whatever we want. We'll meet back up at 5 to go get dinner. And kind of making those dinner reservations in advance is always really smart to do, because a lot of those places get crowded. Everyone's hungry at the same time. Everyone's waiting for an Uber at the same time. So definitely make sure that if you're going to go out and get food with your friends, look early. Look a good week or two before you go to the convention and book some places, and make sure that you try to schedule the time to get there in.
Yeah, besides it being a convention in the area, like these are in popular cities, so a weekend in a popular city can get very crazy really fast. Do you have any other tips for wanting to like start conversations with someone you haven't met, or play games with somebody you haven't met? Because I'm really bad at this, if I'm going to be honest. I really don't go up to people that I don't know. But if somebody comes up to me and asks me to play a game, I think I'm more than happy to, as long as I have the free time to do it. Especially with us as content creators, I mentioned that you can go to the Creator Central area, where a lot of those creators are there for a couple hours and they are available to jam games and play things. So if you're looking for a specific creator, that's probably your best time to do all that.
Yeah, if you definitely want to meet some creators, get something signed, pick up, you know, stickers, tokens, or playmats from one of your favorite creators, look at the creator schedule and definitely head over at that time. It is the easiest way to find them, get something signed, say hello. And if you're one of those people who are like, you know, I want to meet my favorite content creator, but I feel weird going up to them, don't feel weird. That's what we're there for. That is why we have these scheduled times. So that way it doesn't feel awkward at all. We want you to come say hi. That's why we're here.
We've had a lot of that. We've had like the nice opportunity of meeting so many people who have been so kind to us and so excited to meet us. But a lot of them have been like, either one, you're shorter than I thought, or two, have been like, I was nervous to talk to you, or I feel awkward. And we're also awkward. We're also just silly Magic players that like to play this game. So like Tori said, we are there to meet you. So please come to say hi during that time. I think that's all the questions we got. But before we close this out, I would love to know, what is like your favorite thing that you've done in a Magiccon, or your favorite like memory that you have from a Magiccon?
Ooh, I gotta think on this one.
Okay. I will say that we went to the after party in, what was it, in Vegas?
Yeah.
And we started a big dance circle.
And Steve ate a card.
And Steve ate a card off the floor. It was
a foil, flick a coin.
It was a foil, yes. And Steve thought I dropped it on the floor, and he was like, whoa, 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 don't do that. And then everybody was looking at him, and he panicked and put the card in his mouth, and everybody started, well, before that, they started chanting Steve, and that was a memory that will stay in my mind forever. It was also like the most random people dancing, like Cam from Play to Win was out there like doing the jig. Someone was doing the worm. They were spinning around. We had some other patrons in there.
I think that was probably my favorite time too.
Yeah.
I was like trying to think if there was anything else that tops that, but I don't think so. I think that was probably the best.
I think that happened in Minneapolis too. Minneapolis, we had a big circle of people just screaming Bohemian Rhapsody. Like, and so just having a moment to not be like in con mode, in playing Magic, which I love, but I don't want to be the person that's like, Magic's about the gathering. But it kind of feels like it when you're at those spaces. It's really nice to just embody that and have fun.
I think that's probably like my favorite memory from Magiccon. And then one of my favorite experiences from Magiccon is Drew McCarroll, who has like a cool vlog and a cool YouTube channel. He does interviews for people on here, Show and Tell You. Had a cool little project where he handed out digital cameras, or not digital cameras, little film cameras to people, and asked everybody to like take pictures of whatever you want the entire weekend. And he gave us an envelope that already had the postage on it. So when we were done with Magiccon, we just stuck the cameras in there and sent them back to him. I had so much freaking fun doing that. It was so silly and like just something I felt like didn't feel like a chore to do. I was like, this is fun. I took pictures like Crocs with the creator badge on top of them.
My
just, like,
favorite is
dumb
the
stuff.
Hobbs picture.
The Hobbs picture of where Hobbs looks like he's in like a rap album. Like I just had the best time doing that. And if you don't know Drew and you go follow him and look at some of the pictures, a lot of the creators took really cool photos, and I hope that he continues to do that project because it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see how they change up the creator arena too, because that just reminded me, like, originally it was like we were playing arena on there, and then they had the IHOP stuff, so they always change it, and I'm excited to see what happens to that next, because we had a ton of fun. We played the BLG, which we don't speak about the BLG, but we played that there. That was great. We had people, come to meet us, and it's such a special moment getting to have that experience and meet all the people that enjoy Scry Babies, which we haven't even really talked about. This, like, our first full year of doing Scry Babies, and getting to see all the people who appreciate it has been amazing. So that's definitely up there for me. So that is today's episode. If you haven't checked out our previous episodes, please make sure you go ahead and do that. If you have any suggestions or advice for new people who are going to Magiccon, you can leave that in the little comment box. I almost said description, but the little comment box down below, and tell them your thoughts. And if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please leave us a review.
A 5-star review.
A 5-star review.
A lovely review.
Top tier. Let us know that you love us.
If you want to support the show, one awesome way to do that is to check us out on Bonfire. That is our merch store. We add new designs every so often. Right now, we have a new design called No Blocks. It's set like 2 little tiny sweethearts for Valentine's Day. So check us out on there. Pick up a hoodie, pick up a hat. Helps us out, and we'll help you out somehow.
The iconic Hot People Magic is still on there, so you can wear that to your local cons and events and just slay all day. So thank you for listening to today's episode, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.